let's move into the papers now, see what the headlines are across Nigeria. And I have with me two gentlemen to make sense of what the headlines are this morning. I have a journalist, Dario Dufowokon, as well as a lawyer and an analyst, Edo State. Gentlemen, good morning. Nice to see you. All right, let's begin right away with the blueprint. That's where we start from this morning. APC to Oyegun, Lawal, Shaibu, others. Feel free to join the PDP. Says Oyegun's era represents impunity. And I'm willing to lend a helping hand, ex-chairman is saying that, and leave PDP out of your crisis. Olumodion is saying that. Okay, from there, let's move now to the Guardian. Oh, sorry, the Vanguard. The Vanguard newspaper. APC crisis latest. Impunity marked your era. APC blast Oyegun. And feel free to join the PDP. APC scribe tells aggrieved members. And be humble, ask for secret of my success. Oyegun is saying that. And face your self-inflicted woes. PDP replies APC. All right, still a back and forth thing there. All right, the Nation is the next where to go now. So, Oshiomhole cleaning your mess. APC replies Oyegun. Ex-chairman handed over party without blemish, says Aid. Okay, from the Nation, let's go to this day. Buhari to intervene as APC Oyegun's bickering worsens. A party attacks from a chairman exonerates Oshiomhole. And don't drag us into your crisis, says the PDP. From this day, let's go to Daily Sun. Oyegun versus Oshiomhole. Fight gets messier. Oshiomhole conducted most fraudulent primaries, and Oyegun couldn't deal with political despots, and the APC chair is saying that. Our case against party chair by aggrieved members. You can get all that detail, but certainly it's on the Daily Sun. Moving ahead now to the Guardian, which is the last paper this morning. Godfathers may hijack 9th National Assembly. Opposition warns. Seeks a secret ballot for leadership election. An APC National Working Committee backs Oshiomhole, blames Oyegun for electoral reverses. And you run most fraudulent primaries in Nigeria's political history. You know, it's still a back and forth thing there. Gentlemen, I'd like us to dwell on this issues from the ruling political party. Now, one thing there is the party has been constant statements from political actors, politicians, that our political parties still don't have the right ideologies yet when it comes to working with that's crafted ideology where someone can hold on to. Daria, I'd like you to start with on this one. When it comes to ideologies and when you see bickerings here and there like this, others have said, well, it's the beauty of democracy. How do you see it?
No, this is not the beauty of democracy.
Okay.
The internal workings of any political party would represent how good or how bad the democratic experience in the concerned country is. When you have a party, like you said, the issue of ideology is what is at stake here. Our response or our belief in party supremacy is faulty here in Nigeria. And that is at the root of all this problem. The Constitution, like I said earlier today, and our laws have proven over time that the party is what gets elected. The people vote for the party, not for the individual. So the party is supreme. So where we allow party supremacy to, be enshrined, we'll have less of this problem. What are the issues here? That the APC didn't do well in some states, and then the former chairman is saying the current chairman should be blamed for that. The current chairman is saying, no, it all started with your inability to deal with. It actually all boils down to the lack of discipline, internal discipline within our own political parties. This is not peculiar to the APC alone. Take a look at what is happening in the PDP in some states now. And you will understand that our democratic experience need to outgrow individualism. Most of the players today are in politics as individuals, and they still see their party membership as an individualistic thing. They don't subscribe to the interest of the party, whatever happens. And that's the only way to run party politics. Okay. Your interest must constantly be subsumed under the interest of the political party you claim to belong to.
All right. Now, Jide, when it comes to the issue of ideologies, if we take our minds back to the First Republic, where we had the Action Group, the NPC, and the NCNC, and a few other, GMPP, and a few other political parties, there was some semblance of the building, especially the Action Group at that time, comparative to the other political parties. They had some level of ideologies coming up. But eventually the military incursion truncated all of that, and we had to start all over again with the MPN and the UPN and all of that in the Second Republic. If you cast your mind to South Africa, like the ANC that has been there for decades, you see when the ANC is moving, you see the movement, you see the activity is quite different from the way it is run here. And these individuals here right now who are bickering are people who even have a better understanding of what that First Republic was, what ideologies are, and all of that. How does this come to you?
Who should have better understanding?
Okay, who should?
I think we've thrown democracy out of the table. The 4 pillars of democracy, you talk about justice, you talk about equity, you talk about representation, and you talk about, this inclusiveness. But right now, you see politicians fighting to express supremacy. And there are several levels of relevance. You have the national interest, you have the party interest, you have the individual interest. And now, let's come as a political party and ideology. Do we have achievements to put on the table? Is there a vision to be achieved? How far have you gone on achieving that? For example, you just mentioned Action Group. In those days, you make reference to free education. You talk about vibrant health sector. You talk about, flourishing economy. Now, the big question is, if the party is doing internal evaluation and we are having this level of mess, what do you expect from external evaluation? Because when the opposition begins to even ask you to keep away, that go and sort yourselves out, I think there's a major crisis, and it's all about leadership. One of the symptoms of having reactive crisis management is that respect for leadership is lost. And I think this party must find a way of ensuring relevance. Like Mr. Dare said, the party interest should override individual interests. And you must have a conflict resolution mechanism. We have grievance procedure in HR. Before you start coming out to,
of course, there were
throw tantrums into the air,
committees,
you must, and if you fail to resolve your differences amicably, it tells a lot about that party.
All right, we have to leave you here now. Thank you very much, Odigie-Oyegun, for coming on the program. Dari, thank you as well for coming. We look forward to, a proper reconciliation, because these are precedents that are set for younger politicians coming on board.
It's national development that will bring that reconciliation.
All right. For the ruling party to do that.
All right.
Very
we look forward to better days ahead.
It's time to take a look at stories making the headlines in Nigerian newspapers, and I have with me in the studio 2 gentlemen, journalist Dare Odufowokon and Odigie-Oyegun, a lawyer and public affairs analyst. Gentlemen, thank you for coming on TVC Breakfast.
Good morning.
All right, let's head straight to the papers now, and we start with the blueprint. APC to Oyegun, Lawal, Shuaibu, others, feel free to join PDP, says Oyegun's era represents impunity. I'm willing to lend a helping hand, ex-chair. Leave PDP out of your crisis, Ologbondiyan. We move to the Vanguard now. On the front page, APC crisis, latest impunity marked your era. APC blasts Oyegun. Feel free to join PDP, APC scribe tells aggrieved members. Be humble, ask for secret of my success, Oyegun. Face your self-inflicted woes, PDP replies APC. All right, we move to the Nation newspaper now. Oshiomhole cleaning your mess. APC replies Oyegun. Ex-chairman handed over party without blemish, says aide. To the front page of this day, Buhari to intervene as APC Oyegun bickering worsens. Party attacks former chairman. exonerates Oshiomhole. Don't drag us into your crisis, says PDP. And to the front page of the Daily Sun, Oyegun vs Oshiomhole fights gets messier. Oshiomhole conducted most fraudulent primaries. Oyegun couldn't deal with political despots, APC chair. Our case against party chair by aggrieved members. And finally, on the front page of The Guardian, Godfathers may hijack 9th National Assembly. Opposition wants. Seeks secret ballot for leadership election. APC National Working Committee backs Oshiomhole, blames Oyegun for electoral reverses. You ran most fraudulent primaries in Nigeria's political history. Gentlemen, we'll be looking at the story on the front page of The Guardian, where the Coalition of United Political Parties, that is COP, condemned alleged plots to impose some persons as leaders in both the chambers of the 9th Assembly. They are saying Godfathers may hijack 9th National Assembly. One wonders where this is coming from and who the Godfathers are. I'll start with you.
That is why they are there. The Constitution has empowered the members of the National Assembly to elect their leaders. And if they surrender that to Godfathers, then I think they should blame
Who
themselves.
are these Godfathers? Now that's the question.
They know themselves. We are afraid of name tagging the Godfathers. But I have said that Godfatherism is part of politics. Someone and a group of persons may be so influential, perhaps because they have bankrolled elections or they've been able to handpick some candidates who succeeded. So it's all about wielding influence, but as a concerned Nigeria, we expect that this influence will manifest in developing the nation. So I want to say the Godfathers also, ensuring that the expectations of the people are met, not just for securing positions in the National Assembly. Can we make laws that will help this nation transform, bring back prosperity, give us electricity, water, and the basic needs that we have, and of course revive our economy.
All right. Dari, I don't know what you make of the intrigues that has trailed this 9th Assembly. Yes, they have not been, they haven't come in, they haven't started work, but then the leadership, the intrigues that have trailed the leadership, so to speak, has been very intriguing. Now we are getting talks about Godfathers seeking or may hijack this 9th Assembly. What do you make of it? He has said that Godfatherism is part of politics.
I don't think there are such intrigues that we should worry about, sincerely. Maybe we are just making mountains out of molehills, because the world over, this is how the politics of the parliament plays out. The parliament will elect its own leaders, but not without inputs, suggestions, directions from political parties involved. We must also not forget that these people, the parliamentarians, were elected on the platforms of certain political parties. And our constitution and even our laws have over time maintained that it is political parties that are being voted for, not individuals. So if these things are enshrined in our laws, that those going into that assembly are going because their political party won the elections, not because they won. We must not detach what they will do from the interests and desires of their political parties, and by extension, their political leaders. If what we mean by Godfather is now those who may have one or two influences to exert on how the leadership of the National Assembly will emerge, then I don't see anything wrong in it. Because some of these lawmakers themselves have been playing the roles of Godfathers. They've been endorsing. We've seen Senator this and Senator that endorsing candidate this and candidate that. We've seen Governor this and Governor that endorsing candidate this and... So who are the Godfathers? If the Godfathers are those who will exercise influence on how the election of the leadership of the 9th Assembly will play out, then I don't see anything wrong in it. The important thing is, let us all, Godfathers in quote, Godfathers without quote, parliamentarians, the people of Nigeria work, hope, and wish that at the end of this entire process, the National Assembly will get a leadership, one, that will not be unnecessarily antagonistic, note the word unnecessarily, of the executive. Two, that will work with the executive with a mind to bringing development and the dividends of democracy to the people. And three, a leadership to look beyond personal interest. If we continue to have the kind of leadership in the National Assembly that want to enrich its members to the detriment of the people of Nigeria, then whether they are elected or supported by godfathers or without godfathers will make no meaning. It will be the impact they will eventually have on Nigerians that will determine their stay, not how they emerge. We've seen godfathers producing governors, and the governors turning against those godfathers to do the wish of the people. And we've seen godfathers producing governors with the desire that I want a man in office who will satisfy the yearnings of my people. But the governor's turning around to do his own wish. So how you emerge in politics does not really matter if it is true legitimate process. The influence of certain people, stakeholders, you cannot rule it over. Even abroad, in other countries, when it's time for parliamentary leadership elections, we see ranking senators, non-party leaders, leading political figures playing one role or the other. So you can't really doubt.
Another thing the opposition is wanting, or what it's seeking, is a secret ballot for the leadership election.
That should be the best way to go. And really? Having said all this, I think we have the concept of the separation of powers. So I'm not comfortable with the executive, for instance, coming out to give an excuse of non-performance because of the legislative arm. The judiciary also is there. So where there is a will to perform, you will perform. You look at the United States, for example. I doubt if it's easy for Donald Trump, but this man is marching forward with some of the things he has promised to achieve. So if we all come together and establish a vision, if there has been none before now, in developing Nigeria, or if there is one, synergizing to pursue it, in no distant time, we change the narrative in this country, because whether we like it or not, there are enough challenges to engage the three arms of government. Right. And of course, beyond all this, we have the MDA. So Nigeria needs a new dawn, and that should be the focus of anybody that has a privilege. Okay, we have to leave it at this point. Our time is up. Thank you, gentlemen, for your contribution on the newspaper review.